So many people have trouble with this recipe, so today I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you some step-by-step instructions so you'll be able to make this dish first time, every time. Let's make some easy roast potatoes on the One Pot Chef. Making roast potatoes is actually quite easy, but you do need to know a few little tips and tricks, otherwise they don't always come out right. First things first, a lot of people have trouble when it comes to cooking them because some of them will cook, some of them will be undercooked. And I can assure you there is one simple explanation as to why, and it's consistency. Now, when you're making roast potatoes, the little pieces need to be roughly the same size. If they're all different sizes, some big, some small, then that's the reason they're not cooking properly. So they need to be roughly the same size, more or less. It doesn't matter if they're just slightly bigger or slightly smaller, but if you've got like really huge chunks, like this one's a really big chunk here, but then you've got a really small chunk here, this one's going to cook a lot faster than this one. So first things first, we're going to, I'll chop that one in half in a minute, but basically what we're going to do is using a fork, we're going to scuff up the sides a bit, just to make the edges rough. Now there's a reason for this. Doing the edges nice and rough and scuffed up helps to make them crispier on the outside. So go ahead with all your potatoes and scuff them up. Here is our baking tray. Now I've lined this with some foil. There's two reasons behind this. One, it helps to reflect the heat up onto the potatoes, which helps to obviously cook them and crisp them up better. But it's also easier for cleanup time because you're not having to scrub that tray afterwards. You can just screw up all the foil and put it in the bin. Now I'm going to be putting in some olive oil here. I'm going to be fairly generous. There we go, that looks good. Now, if you're cooking a roast, such as roast beef or roast chicken, you can actually substitute this for the pan juices from your roast, and you'll be able to infuse your potatoes with these fabulous juices off your roast. But as I said, if you're not doing a roast or if you just can't be bothered doing that, olive oil's fine. Don't use anything expensive, just cheapo olive oil will be fine. Now we're just going to put in our potatoes, which we've scuffed up with the fork, and as you can see there's not a lot there. I'm just doing a small amount here, but as I said, you just make as much as you want. And we're going to shake the tray a bit just to make sure all those potatoes are coated. Give them a bit of a shake there. So our potatoes are there, lovely and coated in the olive oil. And don't panic if it looks like there's a lot of olive oil there. Don't worry, because you do need a fair amount of oil there because that's what helps to crisp up the outside, because the oil gets very, very hot. So that'll crisp the outside and help to cook the rest of it. Another little trick for obviously seasoning the potatoes, but also helps to dry out the outside and crisp them, is salt. I'm using salt from a grinder. I'm just going to season the outside. Don't go too crazy. We just want a little bit of salt on there. And these little babies are ready to go into the oven. We're going to be roasting them in a very hot oven, 220 degrees Celsius, for about 45 minutes to an hour. The time is sort of a rough estimation because different ovens take different amounts of times, and it also depends on the amount of potatoes you're making. I recommend you take these out after 20 minutes, give them a shake around or use a pair of tongs and turn them over so they cook evenly, and then put them back into the oven for the remainder of the time. You'll know they're cooked when you take one out, cut it in half, it's crispy on the outside and it's soft in the middle. So into the oven they go. And here is the finished result, our delicious roast potatoes. As you can see, they've gone lovely and golden brown and crispy on the outside. They're beautifully soft on the inside. It's just the way we like them. So I'm going to have a little quick taste test of this little one here. Oh, very soft on the inside, very hot. Oh, yum. You got that lovely crispy outside. It's almost like mashed potato on the inside, and they're beautifully seasoned. Absolutely perfect. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos at OnePotChefShow.com, and of course all of the details are in the video description below. And until next time, see you later.